am Shannon from Shannon Talks Yarn, and I've got a giant basket of hats here. And if you are new to crochet, or if you've been crocheting a little while and hats seem like a great idea, you get very excited. They're, fairly quick to crank out, but they do, like, there's always something that's just slightly off. I have a video for you because today I am going through this giant basket that I have right here of a bunch of headwear I've made. And this is all stuff, basically for me. There might be one of my husband's in here, but I've definitely learned something from every single one of these. And today I am here to share it with you. So a lot of these hat creations were done trial and error. I did use patterns for a lot of them, most of them. Some of them, though, were made at a time fairly early in my crochet career where I just maybe had trouble reading a pattern or didn't know if a pattern was within my skill level. And I've had some of these for a while and just haven't parted with them yet. So let's kind of go over and we'll just go one by one. If something's a duplicate, I will just toss it to the side and we'll keep going. All right, I'm just going to start here with the top. This hat, I absolutely love this pattern, and there are quite a few in here that are this pattern. So I'll maybe just kind of note that, and I will link to any of the patterns that I can find or remember, if I thought they were good ones. And this is the Persia Lou Alexis Middleton 30-minute chunky beanie, which I love. But what I learned from this one is I had gotten some closeout yarn from Hobby Lobby a few years back, and it was the Turin, and it comes in this great big skein. It's roving style. I don't think it's wool. It's got like kind of a weird center in the middle of it. And what I learned from this is that it was impossible to do a magic ring. I can do a magic ring, but this particular yarn wouldn't cinch. It was snapping off. So that was problematic. I should have done the alternative technique to a magic ring where you chain 4 and then work out of that, make a slip stitch so it makes a loop and then work out of there, because this just did not work. So I don't really ever wear this. And when I had gotten that Turin, I was 90% off. So I think I paid, I don't know, $2.40 or something like that. So I think this hat can probably just go. It's just not like, it's got a weird thing on top. Maybe if I put a pom-pom, but if I'm remembering correctly, the fit just wasn't quite there because, again, I couldn't really pull it the way I needed to. So let's move on. This was a hat I had made here for my husband, and it is made out of a mandala cake. And I made 3 hats out of a mandala cake. I gave one of them away. It was the best one. I did make another one out of front post double crochets, and it turned out giant because I didn't use a pattern. I thought I could wing it, and I thought I could estimate, and it was absolutely giant. And this one, again, I didn't use a pattern, and you can see it's got a very strange top to it. So I don't know if my husband has ever worn this. I think, so we have like an old farmhouse, and sometimes it's not super warm. Like I think he's worn it in the house, like upstairs, just trying to keep warm. But I believe that I added too many increases here in the center, and you can see it's just, it kind of, it's just, yeah, it's not really hat shaped. It turned out more rectangle shaped. So I guess what I learned from that one is that when you are newer, just because you've made a couple hats doesn't mean that you really understand how the shape should be and where the increases should be. So that's what I learned from that one. This is a ear warmer, and I love this. It is super soft, very soft, but it would be what you would call a novelty yarn. and it was extremely hard to see my stitches, extremely hard. So, I mean, on the plus side, it doesn't really matter if you make a mistake. So in that way, it's good for beginners, but it also, it's just very hard to see. So you have to be okay with the fact that it might not, you might skip a stitch or add a stitch. So very pretty, very soft. But this is also definitely a winter only type of thing. So if you live in a warmer climate, maybe this type of yarn and this type of project just wouldn't be for you at all. This hat right here, I actually really like. I had tried going back and finding the video. I remember like it was from someone with a small channel. I should have written it down, but I didn't. And it wasn't really a pattern. She just kind of walked you through it. And I believed I actually used a 5 weight on this hat. And it's like a turban style, and it is a little big. I believe because I used a 5 weight instead of a 4 weight. And then I can see where I increased too much at the bottom. So you can see my line going down here. And I was like accidentally adding another stitch before I slip stitched in there. So it gets quite wide at the bottom and kind of gives a little bit of a helmet look. So part of that, of course, is because it's this turban style, but because of those extra stitches, you can see where it kind of bulges out back here. Yeah, it turned into more of a helmet than a turban. So that's kind of a bummer because I really like the color, and like glancing at it, I really like it. This is an ear warmer I did without a pattern, and the yarn is a 4 weight, and it is from the Spin-Right factory outlet. It was called like worsted soft tent sail yarn, something like that. And it's very pretty, but it's so soft. It just does not hold its shape at all. I mean, I like how I did and made like the scallop and everything, but it just does not hold its shape. So the first couple times I wore it, it just like got bigger and then just like bleh, melted off my head. So definitely some headwear projects, unless you want it really drapey, need more structure, especially something that may need a little extra help staying on your head. I made this with the Fluffy Butt alpaca yarn, which is some yarn that my cousin actually had spun from alpaca she has on her acreage. So I do have a playlist for that. The hat pattern itself was from Olga Poltova, and I absolutely love the hat pattern. It's hard to see here, but it's got like a little bit of a lacy bit here. And in that Fluffy Butt Yarn playlist, you can see more of the ones I made. What I did learn from this hat is I mixed the alpaca is the cream color or the white color, and I mixed it with I believe it was the Touch of Silk from Hobby Lobby. And neither one of these really have any stretch whatsoever. So the hat just kind of like is what it is. And thankfully it fits on my head okay. But if it wasn't the right size, then yeah, it just, I would have to redo the whole thing. Cause yeah, it's pretty limp. This yarn did not have stretch. It is pretty heavy. And I guess the bonus thing I learned from this one is when you mix like the two colored yarns together, which again, I do really love, but you can't really see the pattern of the hat. So I don't think I have another one of these in here, but again, in that Fluffy Butt alpaca playlist, you can compare it where you can see, yeah, it just, unfortunately, the contrast of the two strands really takes away from the pattern of it. Here is one of my absolute favorite hats. I wear this all the time, and it is getting super duper stretched out. But It is very chunky and it is pretty forgiving because it is supposed to be a slouchy beanie. So um, I wear it, on top of my hair. I wear it all slouched over, and it is one of my favorites. I have several in here. Um, what I do know about the slouchy beanies is that not everyone understands the concept of a slouchy beanie. So this might be a better one to make for yourself and to wear for more fun, because a couple people have asked me to make them. And when I have, I've noticed they've like pulled it way far down on their head and they're trying to like wear it like a stocking cap, even though it's supposed to be like bunched up and everything. So I absolutely love this pattern. It is from Alicia, and I cannot, why can't, Little John's Yarn. Alicia at Little John's Yarn, and it is a granny square slouchy beanie, and I will link that. The video of hers is a little bit older, um, and so there's a few places. I mean, she's just got a really awesome channel now, and this is, I think, from when it was in beginner, so it might be a little bit hard to follow, but I absolutely 100% love this hat. You just need to know how to do like the granny stitch and some front post double crochet. So it is a great hat. Here is another one exactly the same. This is done with Yarn Bees Breathe Deep, which is very similar to a couple of other yarns. The Snuggle Up, I think is what it's called, and Feels Like Butter. So it came out quite a bit smaller, as you can see, than this one, because this yarn claims it's a 4, but it's really more of a 3. So definite difference there, but I love it. This is my, I actually made up this hat. It was supposed to be a bucket hat, but it turns out more of like a cloche style hat. And what I learned from this is actually that you can totally pair up velvet yarn with Hirschner's Afghan yarn, and it blends in seamlessly. So I, I've got a whole video on that. It's one of the best like performing ones on my channel, so that may have been how you actually found this channel. But if not, I will link that below. But yeah, I absolutely love figuring out that I could blend those two seamlessly, and it just gives velvet yarn more structure so it behaves better and doesn't get like so wormy. This is one of my favorite hats as well. Both of these pom-poms, by the way, came from Joanne. They're the K KC pom I cannot talk. The KC pom-poms, and they come with the elastic. So you just sew a button on inside and then bring that elastic in and strap it in there so that you can take it off if you want to watch it. This is the winter yarn from Joanne, and I did have to go up a size when I made this, and since it does have wool content and it's a little bit tight for my head, I guess what I learned about this is, when there is wool, just be mindful that it will be a little bit scratchier and itchier than a acrylic yarn. So if that is something you aren't comfortable with, or if it's going to be a gift and you're not sure how the person would react, maybe don't opt for the wool blend. This I did not make. This I actually thrifted years and years ago. I don't know why it's in my hat pile. Okay, this headband I absolutely love. I have made so many of these in different sizes, and I love being able to like personalize it. You can do different colors. One of my absolute favorite was for a child, and I made it out of the Red Heart Retro Stripes. So I did absolutely love it. And what I did learn though from this headband is that fortunately sometimes people don't know how to wear an ear warmer. So I had given one of these, and the gal was like, "This is too big." Well, instead of wearing it, on her forehead and on her ears, she had it pulled back and was trying to wear it like up here and around. So I kind of thought the style would be self-explanatory, that it was supposed to go on your forehead, but um, it just wasn't. And so of course when she was wearing it way up here, it was giant. So not everyone is going to understand how to wear the item that you gift them. Okay, so here is another one of those chunky 30-minute beanies from Alexis Middleton, and this is done with Hometown. I think that's what it is, right? The thick 6 weight that you can get at like Walmart, but also like Joann and stuff like that. Turned out absolutely great. It is a really great pattern, and it is a really great yarn for that pattern. So that is just like an easy one. If you want to make a 30-minute beanie, I do have that linked. Okay, here is my cat hat in Halloween colors. And I will have the video to that linked below. And this is just really fun. It's obviously something I'm probably only going to wear once a year. I used random scrap yarns I have. One of them was a cotton, one of them was an acrylic, and one of them was probably a weird mix. I don't know because I didn't have the labels, they were just scraps. This is really easy and fun and festive. So the video, I kind of explained where I got the idea from and all that. So yeah, I just learned. Great, cute, fun, festive hat that is super easy. You do have to have a few super basic sewing skills, but literally, like, this is something you could make right out of the gate. Here is another one of those slouchy beanies that I had made. And what I learned from this is some yarns, again, just do not hold up. It does not have the structure. It looks like a giant bell. I tried washing it and drying it to like shrink it up a little bit, and nothing worked. And it like the yarn just does not have enough structure to it. I have no idea what this yarn was. I had wished it would turn out better, but again, just not enough structure for the slouchy beanie. So yes, that one's probably gonna go. Okay, here was just a very, very plain slouchy beanie. And I think this might have been an Alexis Middleton one again. The hat turned out really great. It is just like super simple. I have no complaints about this. It was easy. It looks like it might be half doubles. Yeah, it really easy. The only thing I learned from this one is that I'm not comfortable in this color. So this might work absolutely great for someone else. And maybe I should just like bring it out in December or Valentine's Day or something like that and turn it into more of a seasonal hat. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with the hat. I just never wear it because I'm just really not comfortable in that color. And that's okay. You can see like how this is just a little bit darker. So I'm more comfortable with the darker, but even so, I don't find myself wearing this one at all. So this is that same turban one, and it did come out a little bit smaller than the dark blue one, but again, I did kind of helmet it again. So like I said, I realized what the problem was. It was when I was slip stitching into my beginning stitch while working in the round, I was adding an extra stitch. So yep, I clearly didn't do it every time because it's not absolutely giant, but I did it apparently too much. Okay, yeah, here is another ear warmer I made, and very similar to the other one. I absolutely adore the yarn. I live in Iowa, so it is very, very cold, but yeah, I can really only wear this a couple months. Yeah, otherwise I love it. Here is another one of those lacy beanies by Olga Poltova, and I really do love it. You can see on this one the lacy factor quite a bit more, and yeah, I just learned this is a great pattern. This was the first hat I had made out of that pattern, so not like a bad life lesson there at all. Okay, I have a scarf, random scarf in here too. This is something I have never worn. So I had made this quite a long time ago, and it is out of the mandala ombre Felicity. So I have recently actually gotten another cake of this from Leah Crochets and turned it into a blanket, and I absolutely adore it in that project. But I think with this one, it's just colors that aren't really for me. So I need to just find someone who's really into pinks and purples and gift this to them because it turned out just fine. It's really nice and soft. I guess what I did learn from this project is that mandala ombre is not a real ombre. It is definitely a self-striping yarn. So I mean, you can see they're just. I mean, yeah, it does go from a dark purple to a medium pink to a light pink. So it's somewhat of an ombre, but it's not a true ombre. These are stripes to me. So okay, this is a store-bought knitted hat. I don't know why this is in here. Obviously, I like hats. Oh, okay. This is my witch's hat. Oh, I wish it looked a little bit better. It's like crumpled from being in the bottom of this. So I will link the video to this. It is by Play Hooky with Me, and I really like it. I may have to redo one again. I made this a few years back. It is not so witchy that you couldn't like wear it like out in public around Halloween time. But yeah, I may make another one of these. I wish it was representing better because it's really cute. So I will link that below so you can see how it looks when it's not smashed up. Another purchase knitted hat. Scarf that isn't knitted at all. I'm getting down to the bottom of the pile here, guys. Um, Here is another one of those ones from Little John's Yarn. And this is probably my go-to hat. You'll see it in a lot of thumbnails and a lot of videos just because it is so nice and cushy and great. Okay, before I figured out to mix the velvet yarn with the Afghan yarn, I learned that velvet yarn is hard to work with. Like you can see on here how wormy the texture is and how not structured it is. This was supposed to be one of those turban hats. And I definitely added the extra stitches because it's like a helmet again. So this particular pattern I clearly struggled with, even though it wasn't a hard pattern. But yeah, this I probably could just frog out and put this yarn to better use. So that is another tip right there. Number one, yeah, velvet yarn is very hard to make hats with unless you are mixing it with another yarn. But number two, you don't have to keep this. Like you can frog it out if the yarn is still good. Like I know earlier I mentioned one that I said I just needed to get rid of because there was just no structure. I tried washing it, I tried drying it, nothing would help. Like that yarn, I don't really foresee, and since there's not enough of it, I don't really know what I could do with it. But this velvet yarn, it is the Premier Just Velvet, right? That's what it's called, Just Chenille from Dollar Tree. And I have more of this in my stash, and this was maybe only worn like once or twice to realize it did not work. And to me, it looks so ratty here on my hand. You're probably like, lady, how did you even wear that? But like, I'm going to frog this. That's the lesson. I don't have to keep this. I don't have to throw it away. Even though it's a finished object and I knotted it off, I will go through, figure out, where it was, and I can frog this. And I am fine with that. So I've got one, two, oh, that's a fingerless glove. uh, three more hats here. So this is that same 30-minute chunky beanie. You guys, when I find a pattern that is like super quick and easy and I like doing, I will just make the crap out of it. So this was a softer 6 weight, I am not sure what it is, but it is much, much softer, and has less structure than the, what is it? Is it Hometown? I don't think Hometown's the right name for it, but you know what I'm talking about. It's that 6 weight that you can get everywhere. So this turned out great. And which this is the same one right here with another mystery 6 weight yarn. Turned out great. And that leads us to an absolutely giant ear warmer that I made. So this was, I believe this was in one of those Alexis Middleton patterns. And I used an absolutely jumbo yarn. It's supposed to have a twist. You make it and then you sew it up the back. And I added way too many stitches here in the back to sew it up. So I should probably frog this all out too, because I don't think I ever have worn it. But obviously, with the twisted front, it's going to be smaller in the front because of the twist. But you can see when I turn it around how big that seam gets. So it is just, it turned out weird. It's weird. I would love the pattern, but I just did not execute it in the proper way. Like I said, I just added way too many stitches when I was seaming it together. I really hope this trip through my hat bin has been helpful to you. A crochet is a journey, and a learning journey it is, and it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. While I wish some projects would have turned out better, and it's frustrating when you try to make something and it just doesn't turn out. We have all been there. And I would just like to say that, yeah, you are not alone. It happens to all of us. And even if one of these projects is unwearable, you still learn something. And that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So as always, thank you for talking yarn with me. And I will have a video up here that I think you would enjoy seeing. Have a great day.